This is the story of Raghunath and Jayanti Reddy, created by their children Nischal, Deepika, and Pritham in commemoration of their 50th wedding anniversary. It is made in honor of our ancestors and our grandparents, all of whom came from humble beginnings but had the foresight to let go of their children and propel them into a new life in America. It is also in honor of those no longer with us, Vibhachanana, a dedicated father and husband who left us too soon, and our dearest Annapurna Pinni. She was the embodiment of love and affection, generosity, and unconditional goodness, a shining example of what we should all strive for. This effort is dedicated to future generations of this family to learn about your roots and memorialize these pivotal years in your family history. It is to help you have a better understanding and appreciation of how your ancestors impacted your destiny. Lastly, this humble attempt of a video is a tribute to our parents with deepest gratitude and respect for making us who we are today.
Capturing the history of your life, and I think it's a great thing to do that.
Dad is the eldest son of a farmer and comes from a small village called Rajapet on the border of Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh and about 100 kilometers from the city of Bangalore.
Our family, they were commanders in Vijayanagar dynasty. That's one of the big dynasties in Andhra Pradesh. And then I believe Bahmani sultans invaded and they took over the Vijayanagar empire. And then one of the young Bahmani sultans wanted to marry a girl from our family, and the family didn't want to give that girl to the Bahmani sultan's son. So they all left Kurnool, Ahobalam, and ended up in Rajapet. It was all in the British Empire at that time, and they had a lot of jamindars. So one of the jamindars came to know that we had an army background, and the guy who was in charge of Rajapet was not obedient to the jamindar. So jamindar requested my great-great-grandfather's help in trying to get rid of this guy. Jamindar was very pleased with our ancestors because he got rid of the guy in Rajapet. So he gave the village of Rajapet and 15 other villages to our great-great-grandfather. At some point, they were controlling 30 villages at that time. That was going back to a couple of generations ago. Vishwanath found a cupboard where he found all this written in leaves. So it was all written in Telugu, they could read all that. So he read all that from that. During those times, everybody used to marry within 5 or 6 mile radius. And I don't know when he saw my mother, but after he saw her, then he wanted to marry her. He was very particular about marrying her, even though my mother's parents were not very happy about that.
Why weren't your mother's parents happy about the alliance?
Because he was into farming only. And at that time, he was kind of doing all kinds of business and peanuts. And he would always be dressed up for, how when you're doing peanuts, you dust all over you and all that. So somehow they do like that.
Grandfather said that as soon as he saw our grandmother, he knew he wanted to marry her, and it was love at first sight. Our grandmother has a different version of the story, in which she says she never wanted to marry him. They had 8 children together. First was Dad, then Vishwanathanana, then Kausalata, Prabhachanana, Vibhachanana, Bharata, Gopichanana, and Harichanana. And then there were cousins that were as close as siblings, like Rajamama. The family owned a lot of land in Rajapet and farmed sugarcane, peanuts, and vegetables. The Rajapet house, built likely in the late 1800s, still stands as the largest house in the small village. In its heyday, it was the center of the village, bustling with activity, with farm workers being fed their meals and our grandfather caring for his workers' personal and health needs. He was a patriarchal figure for the whole village of Rajapet, much as our own dad is today with his generation in the US. As each child came to about school age, they were sent to a bigger town because there were no good schools in the village.
I didn't go to any school in Rajpet at all. I think I got some homeschooling, and there's a small town called Kuppam. So I got admitted into 3rd grade or 4th grade in Kuppam. That's where I went to high school. Until high school I was in Kuppam.
Many of the siblings, along with other cousins, lived together in a house there and spent the school year on their own, with a hired cook as the only adult eye on them. All the siblings grew up knowing how to take care of themselves from an early age, and not restricted by many of the societal burdens imposed by traditional Indian culture.
And then I went to college, another town called Vijayawada. And then we went to Bangalore. I was in the hostel for about 3 or 4 years. And then we set up a house in Bangalore. So everybody then moved to Bangalore.
Mom was the youngest girl in the family and is now the youngest sibling of 4, after tragically losing her brother Madan Mama when he was just in his early 20s. The eldest was Bharti Peddamma, followed by Lachamama, then Ramana Mama, then Mom. She grew up in the famous town of Tirupati, maybe just a wee bit spoiled, arguably being her dad's favorite. Her dad was a professor of veterinary science and spent a short stint of time in Kansas as a young man. Her mom was a homemaker, with not a lot of formal education, but a formidable personality and a strong sense of knowing how to raise children to become well-adjusted, productive, and caring adults. Mom didn't have to do much household work growing up. She would leave her empty dishes on the dinner table, which would miraculously get cleaned by the morning, and she never really wondered how it happened. Later, she would tell the story of how, when she first came to America, she would put the dinner dishes in the sink and be shocked to still see them there in the morning, and then cried all the way through washing them herself. When it was time for her to get married, her parents shied away from rural alliances because they knew their youngest daughter would not be able to survive the hardships of village life. Little did any of them know that making the transition to America with no household help, no family support, and a strange new world would have plenty of challenges of its own. But she learned to adapt and survive and has flourished through it all with boundless energy. Mom inherited many of the traits of her own mother, a strong sense of right and wrong, and an absolute dedication to her children first, with no exceptions, even to this day. She married Dad at 19, not having had one conversation with him before the wedding.
Until my turn came, prior to that, everybody had married among our relatives. Somehow we wanted to get out of that cycle of getting married within our relatives. We wanted to go outside our circle. So we said, we want an educated girl. It doesn't matter about dowry. And so the only way you can do is, if you want to go outside of your relatives, you have to go through these brokers, marriage brokers. That was a crazy experience in Nellore. It's like they'll show a girl, she'll be about 50 feet away, and there is the girl, do you like her? I can't even see her. Going and saying, and then they expect a decision right when you come out of the door. They expect a decision to say yes or no.
Come out of the door of the girl's house that you just met?
Girl's house, right, it's brokers.
Well, we met in Tirupati. We had to take a guest house for this meeting, and then we had it's not like me taking tea and serving. We had people coming and serving the tea and the biscuits and whatever on the dining table. So that's when he saw me across the table, not 50 feet away.
I saw her. And, she was a charming girl.
Mm-hmm.
And came from a good educated family, and I was ready to say yes. So I wanted to make sure she said yes. So I called the broker and said, I'm yes right away. And then what's her opinion? I want to make sure. So I think Lachmama went and asked her, and then she said yes. So that was
like a good little girl. I said, whatever you say, that's fine with me.
So what did you think was charming about her if you didn't speak to her that day?
Looks.
I thought he was a cool guy, appeared to be calm, collected. To me, he was he was and he still is extraordinarily handsome person. I'm sure my sister Jaya would agree. Of course, Jaya has always been a dynamic go-getter, and her beauty must have clean bowled him.
I used to work at the government electric factory, and we used to talk about going to America. And at some point, one of them mentioned that United States, they were short of engineers here. If your engineer have 2 or 3 years of experience, they would give an immigrant visa. I'd applied and kind of forgot all about that. But right after the wedding, a couple of months later, it came about. My father was not happy about my coming to America. He kind of, I was supposed to take care of the family in Bangalore, which I was doing. So he kind of felt that, without my being there, he didn't have the support to raise the remaining kids. 3 or 4 months I was debating. They didn't want me to go, but somehow I wanted to come.
And in the end, were they okay with that decision when you were leaving?
Okay. That way my father is pretty accommodating. If he wanted to do it, he wouldn't stop it.
Mom and Dad came to America at the beginning of the 1970s, joining the thousands of other immigrants that were part of the large wave of migration in the late 60s and early 70s. America was the land of opportunity, and Dad came for all the same reasons as so many others, the hope for a better life and the American dream.
So why did you want to come?
I mean, we had heard so much about the United States during those days, that being so prosperous, that you can find a job just like that. But it was so different after I came here. I knew there were no jobs that you could easily get. So it was a wake-up call, but anyway, we survived.
When Mom landed in Queens, New York to join Dad in a not-so-great part of town where he was living, she was not impressed with the broken beer bottles in the lobby of his apartment building and wondered, is she actually in America? On her second day in America, Dad handed her a New York City subway map and told her to meet him at 5 p.m. when he got off work at a specific store so they could shop for cooking supplies. Since Dad was not the mollycoddling type, it's a good thing that Mom ended up not being the timid type. Even to this day, she always rises to the occasion, doing whatever needs to be done. They developed a close-knit group of friends, all living in Rego Park and all in the same situation of being in a strange land, leaving behind family and everything familiar. They stuck together and treated each other like family, and they are still closely in touch to this day. One of those friends, Ramurthy Uncle, tells the story of when his wife Kamatha and Mom went the wrong way on the New York City subway and ended up in Harlem. This was in the 1970s, not the Harlem of today. They called their husbands from a payphone in their saris, who told them to promptly get back on the train ASAP. As they negotiated their way through the streets of New York City and the challenges and excitements of their emerging life, my parents didn't lose sight of their core values, including remembering their extended family.
In our family, there is a tradition that the oldest son takes care of everybody. So, my mother used to tell me, especially when I was small, you are the oldest, you have to take care of everybody. That gives you an impression in your mind. So you just do it after that. And also, the oldest in my father's generation, he took care of all his brothers and sisters. So once I became a citizen, I started applying for everybody. Prabha, Vara, Gopi, Hari, and Vishnath Chinanakrit. We're almost 50 or more.
Mom and Dad slowly and patiently helped bring many of their siblings over to America. The extended Rajapet and Kakaturu families have stayed in close contact, despite settling all across America and some who stayed in India. Many in our generation grew up with a deep sense of family, memories of huge holiday gatherings, and the love and support of our aunties and uncles in countless ways, with our parents at the epicenter of it all. In those early days in Queens and Staten Island, where they bought their first house on Grantwood Avenue, there was always a bustle of activity. Mom jokes about having regularly put on the 10-cup rice cooker to feed everyone. For many years, one of my dad's central focuses was making sure he helped his siblings and extended family in whatever way he could, with Mom steadily at his side, cooking, hosting, and supporting. Together, the two of them have touched so many people's lives, providing guidance and support as the matriarch and patriarch, and laying the path for family members that came after them, helping to steer the future of so many in big and small ways.
Raghu was living at that time in 62 Grantwood Avenue, Staten Island. And this place was like 10 Downing Street. You know, Prime Minister's residence in Britain. And any Indian that came through New York airports had to go through 10 Downing Street. My brother-in-law was truly a good-hearted soldier, you know.
Eventually, when Dad finished his MBA at NYU and got a job with Mellon Bank, they packed up and moved to 518 Clare Drive in the suburbs of Pittsburgh, with Nischal at 8, Deepika at 6, and Pritham, a baby, and stayed there for the next 24 years. Both were active members of the SB Temple community, which instilled a deep sense of cultural identity in the three of us. We had happy and stable suburban middle-class childhoods. Years were punctuated with huge family gatherings during the holidays, with people packed into our modest house. Unusually for a family, members of both sides of the family became close. Our parents were the nodal couple that brought people together.
So I recently became a parent myself, and it's been natural for me to think about how our parents raised us and the positive things they did that helped shape our ability to become productive members of society. Our parents, they tended to be the anti-helicopter parents. They ensured we took our education seriously, but they didn't push us into any particular direction or activity. We grew up with a great deal of independence from an early age. They gave us a lot of latitude to make our own choices. And, whether it was allowing me to be gone for hours and hours in the woods behind our house or flying to Asia by myself in high school, there was always this kind of freedom that I think is very rare these days. And I think this independence at a young age was invaluable in really instilling abilities to interact with the world and figure out our own path through our own day-to-day decisions and mistakes along the way. And I think ultimately this helped us really navigate the ups and downs of adulthood, and I think we'll continue to do so as we move on to the next stage of our life.
Despite Mom and Dad's own challenges of surviving and thriving in a new country, they were able to balance Indian culture and values while raising a child in a foreign land and still adapt to novel American social norms. I have great respect for my parents in navigating this tightrope. My parents' success in overcoming their challenges with such dignity and grace, while also being the hub of extended family get-togethers, leaves me in wonder and awe. Mom and Dad still provide comfort and security to the three of us, and a central home to the entire extended family. I hope to continue to learn from them and instill the same values in my children as well as being a source of strength to all those in the next generation, as exemplified by my parents.
As was typical of Asian immigrant families, there was a huge emphasis put on education. And despite us having happy childhoods, things were not always easy for my parents. But they did whatever they had to do to make sure that the three of us got top-notch educations at the very best colleges that we could get into. They took out loans, they took out a second mortgage on their house, they ran businesses on the side, and for some time my mom worked at a department store as a second job, all to make sure that they could pay our tuition. There was nothing they ever put above our needs. I remember during some of the stressful times, my mom would always say, as long as I have 2 hands and 2 feet, I can go out and work and make a living. And the implied message that I took from that was don't be afraid to take risks. If it doesn't work out, you can always build yourself up again. Dad always had a dream to run his own business, but he never could give up his day job, with the financial responsibility of raising and educating 3 kids. During our childhood, we owned various motels, a travel agency, and even a pizza shop. He tried to make it work as best he could. At one point, he used to work all week at Mellon Bank and then spend the whole weekend, day and night, working the check-in desk of Buskey's Motel in Pittsburgh, which he co-owned with a partner.
Sometimes thought, instead of getting into profession, going into a job, I should have got into my own business long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been happier doing my own thing rather than working for somebody. Circumstances, once you're in a job, you can't take too many risks, and you need a steady income. If you want to get into a business, you need capital, and then you have to take a risk and all that. So once you're in the job, you just continue in the job.
Nikki, when you get a chance, can you
Dad was able to work nights and weekends on businesses because my mom held down the home front. She wore many hats when we were growing up. She worked full-time at an insurance company most of our childhood and balanced that with cooking, cleaning, driving 3 kids to activities, planning our birthday parties, volunteering at the temple, and many other roles. She was the glue that kept us together.
We have been living in Pittsburgh for 24 years in this same
23
house.
and a half.
Almost 24 years.
How young are you?
And now we are making a move to Florida to go into our retirement life. And
How old are you?
How young are you?
do I have to say
Yes.
that? I am extremely happy about my children finding right matches.
So do you want grandchildren soon?
And that's all I'm waiting for. Next to get my other son married and then get some grandchildren from the other 2.
Hey, I'm Nischal. I am the oldest son of my father.
I'm Neelima, and I'm the young bride of this 32-year-old man, the first Kodlu of the family.
And we'll have our
I'm
spots on our
Deepika,
shirts.
the middle child, only daughter, 29 years old, soon to turn 30, and I'm married to the cameraman, Tariq.
I'm Tariq. I'm married to her. I'm in Boston. I'm the PhD student,
And he just got a new haircut, we call it Baby Chick.
Pritam, I'm the youngest of the 3, and I'm the doctor, lawyer, I am the engineer. I round out the 3. I am single, not married yet, for all you ladies out there.
After Pritam went off to college, Mom and Dad decided to leave Pittsburgh for warmer weather in sunny Florida. The slower pace suits Dad, who is more than content to fill his days with a schedule of meditation, reading, long walks, playing with grandchildren, and admiring the natural beauty of the water view from his backyard. Mom fills her retirement years with a flurry of activity and continues to have more energy than all 3 of us children combined. They keep themselves busy with travel or a constant flow of visitors, either family or old friends, reaping the benefits of many years of investment in building rich relationships. As has been the theme of their lives, they're totally committed to their 6 grandchildren: Simran, Arjun, Cyrus, Keshav, Kailash, and Kavan.
Wow, 50 years of marital longevity a splendid achievement by any standards. They are both extremely lucky to find each other. To maintain 50 years of wedded bliss, sacrifice from both sides is necessary. Both Raghu and Jaya demonstrate this immensely. Congratulations, Jaya and Raghu. Thanks for being the family pioneers in bringing us all to America, making you the true matriarch and patriarch of the family.
They were strangers when they met, and now married for 50 years and still going strong. What is their secret? They adapted, they compromised, they divided responsibilities to complement each other, and maybe it helped that they kept focus on a larger purpose, larger than themselves. Marriage is a grafting together of the lives of two human beings. Each lives their own life, but the essence of each life is mingled with the essence of the other. Such a marriage surely they've accomplished.
Happy anniversary!
Happy anniversary!
Happy wedding anniversary to the ever-young couple!
Happy anniversary!
Happy 50th anniversary, Chinnana.
Happy anniversary!
Happy 50th anniversary!
Happy anniversary!
Wish you a happy 50th wedding anniversary.
Happy anniversary, Badna and Ragana. Have a great time.
Happy anniversary!
Happy anniversary!
Happy anniversary!
Jaya Raghu, happy anniversary.
Jaya and Raguna.
Happy anniversary!
Happy anniversary!
We love you.
Happy anniversary!
Happy anniversary!
Jaya and
Ragna.
Happy anniversary, Raghunath and Jaya, Mama, I love you.
happy anniversary.
Happy golden anniversary!
Happy 50th anniversary, Jack and Raghunathan.
Happy anniversary.
Hey Padma, hey Padmana, happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary, Mama and Tata.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary, Jayat and Raghu Mama.
Love you both.
Hi Jeta and Raghu Mama.
Happy Golden Jubilee.
We love you.
Happy anniversary, Raghu and Jaya.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary, JP Nakka and Chinana.
Happy birthday.
Happy anniversary!
Happy anniversary.
Happy 50th anniversary!
Happy anniversary, Mama and Raghu Tata.
Happy 50th anniversary.
Lots and lots of love. Enjoy the next many years together.
Happy anniversary from all of us!
Jayanti, Raghunath Reddy garu, మీ 50వ వివాహ మహోత్సవ శుభాకాంక్షలు.
Happy anniversary! Happy 50th wedding anniversary! Keep smiling!
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary, Padma and Padnana.
ప్రియమైన జయంతి రఘునాథ్ రెడ్డి గారు మీ శతార్థ వివాహ దిన శుభాకాంక్షలు.
Hi Padma, hi Padmana, your favorite nephew here. Happy 50th.
Wishing you a very happy wedding anniversary, Akka Nanna.
Happy anniversary, Vadana.
Happy anniversary, Jayaka and Baba.
Hi, Padma and Padnana. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary, Anna and Vandana.
Happy anniversary!
Happy 50th anniversary, dears Jayanti and Reddy.
Raghu and Jayanti, happy 50th anniversary!
Wish you happy golden anniversary, Mama and Jayata.
Happy anniversary for you.
Happy anniversary, Anna and Vadana.
Happy anniversary, Raghu Mama and Jayatama.
Happy anniversary!
Happy anniversary, Mama and Tata.